So that was how I got my camera for so much cheaper than I would have had I not waited for the Black Friday sale.
Hey friends, and welcome to another episode of The Edit. I'm Erin from Nashville.
I'm Whitney from Minneapolis.
And I'm Amanda from Seattle.
Today we're bringing you an episode all about Black Friday buying tips for starting a photography business on a budget. And Miss Amanda is the expert on the topic. We have been chatting a little bit behind the scenes as we plan this episode, and she's already blowing my mind, and I told her to save it for the podcast. Because even as a seasoned photographer, she was already sharing things that I've not been doing. And I'm all about saving money, even in year 15. So, Amanda, let's just jump right in. Tell us about some of your techniques for saving money and then that maximizing your take home pay with Black Friday.
Yeah. So literally every year, this is what I do. I take advantage of Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals to get the things I need for my business. And there's kind of two reasons for this. Number one is I really want to try to spend as much money that I can afford to spend before the end of the year for tax write-offs. So that's a big one. And because it's towards the end of the year, I know basically all year long, I'm keeping track of what needs to get replaced, what things I'm lacking in my business. And it is towards the end of the year. And so that sort of stuff is on my mind. I've been keeping a list. I know that this is my time to look for the deals to try to save my business money and also be able to have that bonus of getting the extra write-offs for the end of the year. I do really want to preface this by saying that it's important to make sure you know what your budget is and how much money you have to spend. I think a lot of the advice out there is just, well, buy something to write that off for taxes at the end of the year. But if you don't have the extra money in your budget, don't do that. That's not really going to help you. So I feel like that's one of the biggest things is I'm definitely putting that out there. I take a look at my Excel sheet. I see how much money I've brought in and I see what money I have left that I can allot towards these expenses. And that's how I decide what it is I'm going to go ahead and get for Black Friday.
Sidebar, do you guys watch Schitt's Creek or have you? Because
I've only seen one episode and I've been told that I need a few more to get myself into it.
Well, there's a meme, and I'm sure we can share it in some way. I got to figure out what's legal of sharing that stuff. But he said he has all of these hand creams or something and his dad comes in who used to be a businessman or still is, I guess. And he was like, "Where did all this come from?" And he was like, "It's a write-off." And he was like, the dad says, "Who's paying for it?" And the son's like, "The write-off people. I don't know." And I got to admit, that's how I felt the first couple of years. You hear about write-offs and you just think the more money you spend, the better off you are money-wise. And that is not the case.
No.
So I like that you started the episode that way where it's like, we're not advising for people to just go spend all their money. There needs to be a budget. I love that that's how you started.
Yes. I feel like that's a really big piece of information, especially like you said, starting out, you hear all this of like, oh, get this tax write-off. Oh, do this. And you're by the time you're in business, as long as we've been, you've realized I can't just spend this money that I don't have or that needs to be allotted for something different. Maybe I need to really invest it in my marketing. And I can wait another year before I get that lens. Maybe I'll just rent the lens a couple of times next year instead of buying it. So you can have alternate plans depending on what money you have.
I do have a question because you're talking about your Excel sheet and that you look and see what money do you have. Do you have is this your business savings that you're taking this money from?
So the way that I do it, I know a lot of businesses do it different. I use Excel because I had this Excel expert basically create me a whole expenses and income sheet to use 10 years ago. And I have been using it ever since. I know a lot of people use QuickBooks and all of that. For me, this Excel sheet is my baby. Everything goes in there. So it literally tracks every expense that I have, and it puts it into a category. So I've got a drop down menu to mark what category it's from. So I can see how much money I've spent on marketing. I can see how much money I've spent on my business licenses. I can see how much money I've spent on all of my car expenses. All of it gets broken down, and then I can see, how much, what my gross is, what my profit is at any given time. So I can see that compared to what's in my bank account. How much money do I have to play with? A lot of times I'll start out with a goal in mind, and that's the number I'm looking at. And that's just like usually a personal goal. When I knew I needed a new camera, that was in my brain. I'm like, okay, I need to have at least like
Mhm.
$3,000 set aside for the new camera. And that was just always right there. And so I could look and see, do I have enough money where I can actually spend $3,000 to get the
Mhm.
camera body I want?
Mhm.
And that was like that was
Awesome.
my big Black Friday, which I'm going to be talking about specifically.
Yes.
Especially if you're a new photographer, the camera is expensive. Your laptop
Mhm.
or desktop is expensive. So I want to talk about ways that you can save money while getting the equipment that you need in order to actually run your business. So, after my first tip of make sure you can actually spend the money is get yourself an app like Rakuten or Rakuten. I feel like I'm never saying it right. But anyways, this is a cash back app that you can use, and during Black Friday and other times of year, they offer extra incentives. So, I knew I really wanted to get a Canon Mirrorless, the R6. So that was like in my head the whole time. I went on Rakuten to see what sort of cashback offers they had for Canon. And then as soon as November hit, I stalked the website to see if that number was going to fluctuate. Usually it's only 1 or 2%, but I saw as we were getting closer to Black Friday that they were doing like 10% cash back and then
Mhm.
12% cash back. So I set myself up every day looking on there to see what their deal was. Sometimes it's just, hey, on the Canon site, no matter where it is, you get 12% cash back. Sometimes it's you have to shop certain categories, like it's only on refurbished models or it's only on lenses.
Mhm.
So reading through that stuff. And again, since I knew I wanted this camera, I was invested. I searched, I looked, and the week of Black Friday, they had, I think it ended up topping out at 13% cash back. And it
That's great.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so because they had also talked about doing refurbished models, that got me thinking, "Hey, let me look on Canon's site to see if they have a refurbished R6." And they did. For the Black Friday sale that they had going on, it was $300 less than the, like, new R6, and I know because it's Canon, their refurbished models are looked at by Canon professionals, and their value is really great. It's not like you're getting something off of, like, sketchy gray market, maybe eBay.
Mhm.
You're getting something from
Mhm.
Canon. They've looked at it. So I wrote down my numbers so I could share them. So the camera was going to end up being new right around 2,300. I found a refurbished one for $2,069. I also got a battery because I knew I'd need a new one. That was like $80. I say this because that was the total cost. And because I shopped through the Rakuten app, I ended up getting a check in the mail for $257.88. So,
Wow.
th-
That's another cheap lens if you were to
yeah,
go, like, that's a nifty 50. That's like, that's the
exactly.
first thing that's a flash. That's great.
Yes. So that is like the way that I got myself the new camera that I needed very desperately. I saved because it was a refurbished model, so I saved $300 off the bat anyway. And then I got an extra $250 back in the mail. I did have to wait.
Amazing.
They
Yeah.
do paybacks quarterly, so you do have to wait for that money to
Mm.
get to you, and it is a check, which
Mhm.
is kind of annoying, but whatever. But yeah, so that was how I got my camera for so much cheaper than I would have had I not waited for the Black Friday sale, had I not gone on to Rakuten and figured out what sort of deals that they had and what cashback. It is really easy to install it on your browser. So I have that on there. There's also another really good app called Honey. I don't know if either of you have used it or not, but this one's
Mhm.
great because as soon as you go to a site, it pops on there and tells you, like, as long as you got it installed on your browser, hey, here's 4 other websites that offer the same product you're looking for. This one has it cheaper. And so you can go shop
Mhm.
around. And then what I do once I have that, I go compare that to Rakuten and figure out, okay, which of these sites are they offering cash back on and how much can I get? So it takes a little extra, but because you can put those into your browsers, it's kind of just a drop down and it's right there. So it makes it easier
Mhm.
to save money.
Yeah.
And
I
I think
love that.
especially we talked about how when you're first starting your business, some of the expense is your time
Yeah,
because you're getting,
Yeah.
you're starting out. So once you get really, really busy, you'll have to decide, is it worth going through that for like a $200 purchase? Maybe not. But especially when you're starting out, it's such a good way to use your time to start saving money right away. I love
exactly.
it.
Yeah. And like, I personally have never bought a desktop or a laptop through a Black Friday sale. I'm lucky in that my husband builds them for me. But I did look in past things and it looks like Apple typically has a $50 to $150 discount for Black Friday
Mhm.
and Cyber Monday. Dell also typically offers a Black Friday deal too. So there's ways that you can go and get the laptop, desktop that you need in order to run your business too and save money that way. And I was reading through I think it was the F Stoppers. They have a really good list of Black Friday deals. So I looked at what they had last year. And I guess Apple ran this like flash Black Friday sale where it was like $1,000 off of one of their like laptops. So there
Mhm.
can be these really amazing deals. So if you have a brand in mind, checking out their website ahead of time,
Mhm.
subscribing to their newsletters, you typically get notified like a week in advance of what Black Friday sales are going to go on. And a lot of
Mhm.
times they just do the whole week. Like Artsy Couture is one of them. I use them for client gifts. They have a holiday ornament sale that they do for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. They do it every single year. So every year I wait. They're normally $26 for these really cool cube ornaments. And so I get them for $19 when I do the sale. And it's just a fun little client gift that I create, where it's got the photos on there for clients that have spent over a certain amount. That's what I gift them as their holiday present. And I'm spending a little bit less than I normally would because I'm taking advantage of that sale.
Such
Smart.
It is. It's so smart. Such a good
Mhm.
idea. I have a hard time when I decide I want something. I want to like buy it
Right
then.
then. Yeah.
And I love hearing you talk about it. Just like having it all laid out really shows me like that it really can be worth the wait,
Yeah. You
even if it
can
might be hard.
Yeah, I mean, it really can be. And there are some things where,
Yeah.
like, you have to buy it. One year, my
Mhm.
camera broke, and I had no choice but to go out
Mhm.
and buy myself a new camera that same day. So, doesn't always work, but when you can strategically plan, and like, it's one of the things that we like literally just talked about is I have to hold my microphone because my little like microphone stand just totally crapped out on me. That's one of the things I know that I'm going to need, so I'm going to look for Black
Mhm.
Friday deals on microphone stands, because why not? If I can save some money, I don't need it, I can hold this microphone for now, so I'm fine doing that. And Black Friday is just around the corner, so I'm going to keep an eye out for that. Nikon, Canon, Sony, Fuji, most of the major brands do offer some sort of Black Friday or Cyber Monday deal. So if you're in the market for a camera, if you're in the market for new memory cards, new batteries, but you can hold out and wait a little bit, that's going to be your time to buy. Wait until you can save
Mhm.
some money on the things that you need. Um,
Mhm.
One of the things I'm going to mention too is that, for my business at least, there are certain like year expenses, if you will, that I take advantage of. So I have a zero waste business. It is really expensive to get the zero waste boxes that I use through TerraCycle, but they have a sale typically once a year, and it's usually Black Friday or Cyber Monday. So that's when I buy my boxes that'll last me for the whole year. So last year I bought 2 TerraCycle boxes that lasted me almost an entire year. They lasted me about 10 months. And with their sale, I
Great.
saved $174.90 on the boxes. So again, like, I'm willing to wait. I know that it's coming around in
Mhm.
November, and I'm going to save like I mean, really, it's almost $200 by the time, because it's usually free shipping that's included too as a deal. So I'm saving almost $200. And then that's the thing I'm going to buy for the whole year. You could do the same
Mhm.
thing with like ink for your printer and, just kind of the office supply things
Mhm.
that end up getting thrown into Black Friday sales,
Yeah.
because really most businesses are trying to get you to spend money during this time.
Mhm. Are you, have you thought at all, are you gonna talk at all about, like, softwares or things? Or do you want me to chime in? Is that
Yeah,
on your notes,
no, it's
Amanda?
it's funny. I don't use anything really specific for my software that would have a Black Friday deal attached
Yep.
to it. Pretty much everything I have is kind of your standard Adobe based, and like I've got Swift galleries, but they don't run those deals. So if
Yeah.
you've got something, please share.
Well, I have I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna say names or not. Yeah, I'll say names. So I had tried AfterShoot, and I started trying that on a Black Friday deal. And then I currently pay like $7 or $8 a month for, is it Imagine? Is that how you pronounce that one? Y'all, I got the Black Friday deal last November, and I have a recurring charge coming out of my bank account, and I haven't ever set it up. So don't be like me in that regard. Um, I really think, I think whenever I was doing higher volume, it sounded so great, and now at the stage of motherhood that I'm in, I'm not doing as high volume, and
Mhm.
so anyway, thankfully, it's only $7 a month, but I did get it on a Black Friday sale last year.
Mhm.
So, of course, we don't know if they're going to run sales this year, those particular brands, but there are other businesses. Again, I'm afraid to drop names off the top of my head. So we discussed that we're going to create a list in our newsletter that we send out that
Mhm.
accompanies this podcast of places that we have gotten Black Friday deals in the past, the three of us. But I know that there are some softwares, culling softwares, editing softwares, album design softwares,
Yeah.
all sorts of
And I
things like
do
that.
know
Mhm.
Swift Galleries has done, I don't know if they'll do it this year, but they have done Black Friday deals
Mhm.
before. And sometimes, and I know some softwares will even sometimes do where you get to, get the whole year
Mhm.
for a
Yep.
deal, which can be really great.
I've even in the past gotten deals on education from other photographers if they have a
Mhm.
course or a guide.
Mhm.
I know for a fact I've purchased those on Black Friday as well. Again, I think you've got to figure out, Amanda already said this, what is your budget? What do you need the most in this moment? Do you need gear? Do you need software? Do you need education? What do you need office supplies? I
Mhm.
love that you just said ink. I never
I
buy ink
know.
on Black
That's the
Friday.
thing. I mean, really, again, these companies are really trying to get
Yeah.
you to spend money for Black
Yeah.
Friday. And so they're discounting so many things where, again, you kind of just don't really think about it. Like office supplies,
Yeah.
you just kind of buy them when you need them. But if
Yeah.
you can get, half off your ink for the year,
Mhm.
awesome. Like do it.
Y
Save yourself that
you
money.
know what I s Yeah, you know what I spend a good amount of money on each year is packaging supplies because I
Mhm.
do product sales, and then I'm packaging albums and prints and flash drives and, wall art and all sorts of things, and I used to purchase my, like, tissue paper in bulk,
Yeah.
my boxes and things like that, and I'm running low, and then so then because I'm running low and I haven't taken the time to stock up, I run to Michael's and I grab
Mhm.
1 box or 1 bag.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, I need to take a minute and see, will I find Black Friday sales on the packaging companies? I'm not sure. That's something we've not talked about on the podcast yet,
I
are
know.
companies to buy your packaging from.
I got
So
some good
Yes.
ones.
we should do that.
And
Yes.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. So, one of the packaging companies that I use, they usually do run some sort of sale, and so that's when
Yeah.
I stock up for my year on boxes. Again, I
Mhm.
Yep.
know it's coming. I've, like, built it into my budget that I know once November hits, all the money I've been setting aside is gonna be spent, but it's great because it's gonna save me money in the long run. It's gonna last me the whole year because that's kind of how I've designed my business. Um,
Yeah.
and I know it's coming. I know it's coming every November. I'm the person that like subscribes to all the newsletters, all the updates from all the companies so that I can see who's got the Black Friday sale coming? What can I check ahead of time? What can I add to my cart that as soon as they launch the sale, I can just click, okay, buy, or put in my promo code?
I love it.
And I think too, I was thinking about like if I were starting over, and if you're starting a photography business, and let's say you have another job. And so right now this is a hobby, or maybe more than a hobby, that you're actually starting it, you're making money, but you still have a decent income. This would be a great way to start just saving that money you're getting. Put it somewhere and start saving up to buy these things when Black Friday comes around. If I had started photography that way, if I was like maybe because my degree was in teaching, if I was teaching while I was doing photography, I would start taking those small sessions that you're doing that are like maybe you're only charging 50 to 100 because you've not done any sessions. Just stick that away rather than just putting that in your personal money.
Yeah.
Which would be great. And that reminded me because you mentioned that you do some stuff with your credit cards.
Oh, yes.
Amanda, on these sales, which gives you even more money back.
So that's the other thing too is I use a Chase business card. And in my personal life, I also have Chase credit cards. The nice thing with Chase is that you can combine and transfer your points that you get. And Chase is one of the best ones I've found for percentage back of whatever your purchases are. Some months they'll do deals too where, hey, at like at gas stations, you get 5% cash back. Like, perfect. I'll make sure that I use that card every single time at a gas station. But either way, I can transfer all the points from my business card to my personal card and vice versa, so that through the Chase portal, I can book travel. And
I wonder if I can do that. I've got Capital One, one for business, one for personal.
Check to see if you can do that. So that's what that's what I do now. And so while I used to just get the cash back and then I'd get myself like a statement credit or whatever, so I'd get the money off of my next bill, what our family now has decided that we're going to do with that is we're using that as our vacation fund. So we're going to the UK in January and we're using all of our points that we've pooled for the year. We've put them all on we've transferred them all to one card. We got our airfare booked, which didn't cost us anything. We got our hotels booked, which have cost us nothing. And then now we still have like 50,000 points left. We're going to see if we can do the rental car. So like it's funding our family's vacation. So again, it's just one other way that you can, use this stuff to your advantage is really what it comes down to. If you're going to be using a credit card, try to use one where you get cash back or get points for different things you'd be using anyway. So that's my advice.
I love it so much. I love everything that you shared, Amanda. And I think, again, I want to say we're not encouraging you to go out and spend all your profits on Black Friday sales because it's going to feel like that's what everybody is telling you to do over the next little bit. We're all about helping you start a photography business or run your season photography business the best way possible and saving the most money so that you can put the most in your pocket.
Yep.
If you liked this episode, we have been publishing some episodes recently about wall art and cards and different things. And then we're sharing newsletters on sales that have been running. So this is just along the same lines of helping you figure out how to run this business as best as you can. We're here to cheer you on for it. We'd love to connect with you on our socials. You can find us all over the place at The Edit Weekly or at theeditweekly.com. And when you're on theeditweekly.com, be sure to sign up for our newsletter so that you can get stuff in your inbox in between episodes. So thanks for watching. And Amanda, thank you so much for sharing all of that. That was amazing.
Happy to help. I wish I knew this stuff when I started. That's really what it comes back to. So, yep.
All right, ladies. Thanks so much. Bye.
You. See you next week. Bye.
Okay, Photo BFFs, if you have not subscribed, do that right now so you never miss a new episode. You can also find us at theeditweekly.com where we have free resources and downloads for you to help grow your photo business.